Hello guys, how you doing? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to quickly share with you candlestick pure price action. Okay, candlestick pure price action. So this video will be divided into three separate parts. So the first video has to do with the candlestick type and their name. Okay, candlestick types and their names, and then the second video has to do with candlestick formation, where we have two or three candles that form and then left us with a signal on what to do. Then the third video will be start and the end of the trend, that is a general movement of the candlestick, okay, with the higher highs and the lower lows. Okay, so kindly subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification so that when other videos come, you will be notified. Okay, so let's start it this way. If actually you travel abroad and it happens to be that where you travel to, you could not understand their language, what it means is that you have to look for someone that will interpret the language for you so you could understand. Okay, so that is exactly what candlestick is doing for us traders and the financial market. Okay, candlestick is the middleman who speaks and interprets the language for us. So we have to pay close attention to the candlesticks. I see a whole lot of traders coming into this market without understanding this concept. They just float in, buy and sell. At the end of the day, they just blow several accounts and then quit trading. I personally have been through all these experiences till I got them all, and that is what I want to share with you right here, guys. So let's quickly look at what is the first thing to know about the candlestick. The first thing to know about candlestick is how to read your candlestick. Okay, so looking at this very two candle, you see that they they are surrounded by five characteristics. The very high here, the very low here, then the open here, the close here, and the body here. Okay, so if you look at this one, the high at the up, the low here, then the open at the bottom, then the close at the top. This is the body. Okay, so now color does not matter. Color, you are the one who will choose the color that suits you. Okay, so some use black and white, different other colors. Okay, so color does not really matter at this point in time. So how then can we differentiate these two candles? Okay, this is for bearish, which you can also call selling, and this is for bullish, which is also for buy. So whenever you see this candle, you buy. When you see this for sale, then you go with it. So looking at the arrow is pointing down because this is going down for sale, okay? And this is pointing up because it's going up. So now, how do we differentiate it? How we differentiate it is that the bearish candle open at the top and then close at the bottom, okay? That is why the arrow is pointing down. So meaning that as soon as this candle close, we are expecting another candle to form, okay, and start continuous selling, unless sellers came or come into this market and then push the market and direct and then reverse the market back up. That is when it will start buying. Likewise, this other bullish candle too. So as the market open down here and closes up here, so once this very particular candle close, depending on the time frame, 4 hours, 1 hour, okay, daily, whatever time frame you are using. So we are expecting after the close of this candle, another candle should open and continue buy, unless sellers come into this market and then take over the market and reverse the market, and it will start selling. Okay, so knowing knowing the difference between the two candles, as you can see, the arrow is pointing up for buy and this is pointing down for sell. Okay, so in the candle we also have wicks here. Okay, some call it shadow, some other call it tails. Okay, it depends on what you think that is okay by you. Okay, so what is the really work of this very particular wick that left us here? Remember that the market opened here. So when the market opens here, then it first of all tested this high, work the high, start rejecting by the seller. Okay, so seller reject it and bring it back down to this very particular low. Then buyers came in and start reacting too. So when they start reacting and then finally close. That is how we got the wick. But with other candles that we are going to see, then when the wicks become more longer than the way it is, most especially at the one area of the candle longer than the other, so it also has a language, it has meaning, it has interpretation, so which we are going to also find out at the end of the day. Then another thing is that after knowing the whole candles, we have to go to live chart and then look at them one after the other to see how they looks like and how they manage to form on the chart. Okay, so let's look at the next chart, the next slide, and know what we have here. So what we have in the next slide here is the same two candles that I've just finished explaining right now. Okay, so this is representing the bearish, while this represents the bullish. Okay, so the long wick are here. Okay, then this very particular market opened at the low and then closed at the top, while this particular one opened at the top and then closed at the low, leaving us with the body with the highs and the lows of the particular candle. Okay, so after which we look at into doji. We have three types of doji here. Okay, this is a cross doji, dragonfly, and then gravestone doji. Then in this very cross doji here, okay, the message that the market is leaving us with is that there is no any decision. Decision have not made on the direction in which the market will go. Okay, because the market opened here and the market closed here at the same point. So immediately it opens here, what happened? It first of all rallied down, worked the low, then left us with a long wick. Then buyers push it up. As they push it up, work this particular high. Then what happened? Seller came back again. So they had been fighting all this while till the point that the time reached and then they closed at the same point. Okay, so that is how to know that this is a doji. So doji does not have any particular direction for now, so it's highly advised that you should not do anything, either do anything, just ignore the candle and wait until the other candle that will form. Then as soon as the candle finish, then you have a very good clue on what to do next. Okay, and this type of candle is also found in both buying market and the selling market. That is the bullish market and the bearish market. You can always find this type of candle. Okay, so after which we also have this, and remember I have also said that irrespective of the size of the candle, that it always have the complete 5 characteristics. So let us identify the 5 characteristics on this very particular doji. Okay, so we have high here, we have low here, we have high, we have open, we have closed, and as tiny as this thing you are seeing here, this is the body. Okay, so that means that the 5 characteristics is complete here. Okay, so this is a dragonfly. Dragonfly is a candle that you normally find most of the time at the support zone. So when you see this candle at the support zone, it also gives more confidence that the market will reverse and continue to buy. But most of the time too, you can also see it at the resistance zone. But if you see it at the resistance zone, don't rush to buy or don't rush to sell. Just allow the next candle to form and finish. Because there is what we call trap in this market. Yes, there is always a trap. So stay tuned to this channel. We are going to bring out the video about trap. Okay, and at the same time, if you don't know what is resistance and support zone, please kindly stay with us in this very video. It may not be this particular one, then we will bring another video for resistance and support zone. Okay, so as I said earlier, the candle which is dragonfly always been found in the support zone. Okay, so if you see it in the support zone, there is every tendency that it may likely to reverse and buy. But once you see it as a resistance, please kindly hold on, because it may likely to break the resistance then and continue buy. And sometimes it will close like this when you have a hope that okay, there is still buying pressure, you start buying all of a sudden to reverse. So that is why you also know that this is a resistance. Okay, so you have to hold on for the next candle to finish before you decide what to do. So likewise, the gravestone here. Gravestone is a candle that normally found in the resistance zone. Okay, so if you see it at the resistance zone, then have a confidence to sell. But if you see it as the support zone, then you have to exercise patience. Let the candle that will form after this then finish, so that you can see a clear direction of what the market wants to do next. So it will enable you to know the action to take. Okay, so that is it for this very particular candle. Please remember, as I'm trying to explain to you, this was once buying. Okay, all of a sudden what happened? Sellers came in and pushed the market down. That is why I say if you see it at the resistance zone, there is every tendency that the market may likely to sell. But if you see it at a support zone, it may likely to remain as a trap. Because when you see that as support, you believe that okay, it will continue sell, it will break the support and continue sell. Then what happens? The market continue buying. Okay, so try to understand this. This is a selling candle, this is a buying candle. So meaning that you find most of the time at the support, while you find most of the time at the resistance. But peradventure, if you see any of them at like this one, if you see this one at the resistance, be very careful. If you see this one at the support, be very careful. That is just the rules and the language that guides them. Okay, so now we come down to hanging man here. Hanging man is a selling candle. Characteristics of a selling candle is that it opens at the top and then close at the low. Okay, but what happened here? Then buyers came in and pushed this candle. So when the buyer came in and pushed the candle, they were unable to push above the open. Assuming that buyer were successfully pushed over the open or above the open, then they would have taken over the market successfully. But as it is now, most of the time, this very particular candle is always found at the resistance, okay, because it's a selling candle. Yes, it's a selling candle. Am I communicating? Most of the time, it's being found at the resistance. So if you see it as a resistance, then there will be a kind of hope that will be giving you to do what? To buy, okay, to continue buying. But all of a sudden, it may sell and reverse. Because the message of every long week means that there is all this reaction that buyers must have come in, or sellers. Let me use this too. Here, it was once selling, so buyer came in and pushed. Okay, why here it was once selling, it was once buying, seller came in and pushed it down. So whenever you see a long wick like this, what it tells you is that there is a particular event that happened which end up with one party. Yes, so what I mean by one party is that the fighting between buyers and the sellers in the market. For example, now buyers has won this battle while sellers has won this battle. That is the meaning of this long week here. Okay, so I have been able to remember. But why I said here that buyers have not been able to won the market here is because characteristics of selling candle opens at the very top, then sell down to this low, then buyers came in and pushed. So when they pushed, they were not able to push above the open. Assuming they push above the open, then they would have won. Okay, but because they could not push above the open, then this candle still represents seller. Okay, so why sometimes people do not understand when they see the long week, they believe that all the long week will always work. So they start buying. As they start buying, then the market continues refusing to understand or not understanding that this is to tell you that we sellers have more power. So there is a selling pressure here. Okay, that is why immediately at the close of this candle, then you see it continue going down. because they were telling you that more selling power have come into the market, even though the buyer reacted, but they could not win the battle. Okay, now looking at what the hammer is saying now, hammer says that there is no difference between this hanging man and the hammer. The only difference is just that buyers were able to win the battle by running up above the open, because the two candles were once selling candles. Okay, so here buyers could not be able to win successfully, but they won here. So that is what makes it different between the hanging man and the hammer. Okay, so because there is this buying above the open, okay, now automatically the candle has turned to a buying market. It has turned to bullish market, even though it's an hammer right now. Okay, because now that we have seen that he has painted white, so this is a buying candle. But remember, it was once selling. All of a sudden buyer came in, and when it opened, this was where it opened. Okay, just like where it opens like this. Then what happened? They just came buy above the open, and then they close at the top. Remember the characteristics of a bullish candle. It opens at the low, okay, and then close at the top. Okay, now this guy opened at the top and close at the low. So let's use this as an example. If peradventure this very candle was okay, this very particular hammer was this like this. So what happened? So when the buyer came in, they pushed this particular candle, push it, push it, push it. Remember, it was open here. So all of a sudden, they push it to this particular point and close. Okay, that is exactly what happens in this very particular hammer. Okay, so that is why I will have more confidence to buy this particular candle when I see it as a support zone. Yes. So now this is a pin bar, while some call it shooting star. Okay, so now mainly looking at these two candles, this was once buying full. All of a sudden sellers came in. So when sellers came in, they dragged it down, but they were unable to close below where the market opened. This is where the market opened. They were unable to close below where the market opened. So what does that mean? You have to wait whenever you see this very particular candle at the resistance zone. Just hold on, let the next candle finish. So once the next candle finish, then you have a clear direction what to do. Like unlike this very particular candle here, okay, this very particular pin bar here. So you can see the same thing what was happened here. This candle was once like this, okay. So what happened? When seller came in, they pushed the market below the open of the market. That is why it formed this bearish black candle. So now it is confirmed that it's good to sell when you see it at the resistance zone. Okay, so that is how this candle works. So these two things I've explained here is what is also applicable to the two things that I've just explained here. Okay, so I don't know. In case you do not understand, please, or maybe I was too fast, kindly rewatch the video 2 times or 3 times. By the time you watch the video 2 or 3 times, definitely you will understand. Okay, so let's look at the next slide. What we have here. Okay, this is the pin bar, which is the hammer. This is the hammer, and this is the shooting star or pin bar. This is the major pin bar, okay, or shooting star. But this is hammer. Okay, so now this is just to show the level. Okay, and remember that I said earlier that all candle has 5 characteristics. Okay, the low, the high, the open, the close, and the body. So likewise what we have here. So we have already done all these things, so I'm not really here to explain anything maybe further. Okay, we know how it has worked. Okay, so where did this market open? This is where it opened. Okay, and because it opens here, the first thing he did was to sell. It was once a selling market, okay, full of the black candle or bearish candle. But when buyers came, they pushed the market until they crossed above the open and then closed above the open. That is what confirmed it as a genuine buying signal, buying candle. Okay, so likewise what is happening here, it was once open here. When it opened here at the low, it was once buying, okay, because it's a bullish candle. It was once a full bullish candle. All of a sudden, the seller came in, pushed it and pushed it below the open and then close under it. This is what confirms the pin bar that is good enough for sell. Why this is good enough to buy, okay, with the five characteristics: the high, the low, the open, the close, then this is the body. Okay, we are good to go to the next slide now. Okay, so we have done all this. I have explained everything already. So another thing I want to add to all I have explained is that please, once we get to chart, as we are about to enter chart now, don't expect to see the whole candle to be the same way you are seeing it here on the slide. No, there must always be a difference. For example, like the gravestone here, you may always see something like more little wick down here. Okay, that wick does not disqualify it that is not a gravestone. No, you look at the size of the body, you look at the position where the market open and close. Okay, those are the things you look into, because in the future video that we are going to see at the chart there, it may look as if, okay, this very particular candle resembles spinning top, resemble doji, it resemble a kind of pin bar, so it will be a little confusing. But just look closely to it and know what exactly the message it comes with, then define it and then wait for your confirmation before you take any action. Okay, so let's quickly take a look at what we have at the chart. Okay, so mainly looking at our chart here, this is card. Okay, USD card, 4 hours time frame. Okay, let us look at the beginning and let's see what is on the beginning. Okay, now let us start with the activities that have just happened recently. Okay, before we then start looking at other things that have been marked. So now what happened? This market has been selling all the way up here down to this point. So looking at this particular candle, what are the messages that we have found around this area? Okay, the message that we found around this area is that selling this candle, getting to this point, and then sellers are now complaining that we are tired to continue selling. That is the message. Sellers are tired to continue to sell. So now what happened here? The momentum has been reduced drastically. Okay, so there we are the momentum has been reduced all the way from even here. You can see the candle sizes, small, 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 small. Now all of a sudden, this guy just came up. So this guy that came up, there is a little confidence that, oh, something may likely to happen very soon. That is why immediately this guy came up, you then compare it with this candle, you discover that it is much more bigger than this. So they are gaining momentum. There is more buying power in this candle to compare with this. That is why I say the sellers are losing momentum. Okay, so when they give us the final notice that work the low, we are done, and this is a confirmation that there is no longer selling power again. And what happened? Then the market took over, the buyers took over. Then look at the activities again. Now, when this very particular candle finish form, so we are expecting another candle that will form to continue sell, because from this very top here, we have been seeing selling, selling, selling. So we are also expecting that as soon as this particular candle close after the 4 hour, the next candle that will close, let it continue going down. But all of a sudden, look at the new candle that opened. You could not even test the low at all. You just open and reverse immediately with full force. Okay, look at the size of the candle that happens here at the 4 hour. Look at this 4 hour. Compare these three candles. You will discover that it has nothing to even do with these two. Okay, so the buying pressure was too high. So all of a sudden, after the 4 hour, it closes here. Then immediately what happened? Another candle opened. So you can see that the new candle that opened could not also even retest, could not even shifted to even say, okay, let me see what is happening. Buyers, we are buying with force. Okay. After the 4 hours, another candle opened and continue to buy. Just this one just tested a little. That is why we have this very little wick here. Okay, tested a little and continue to buy. Then having buy after these 4 hours, look at the reaction of sellers here now. Can you see? Reaction of sellers tested a little. Okay, so as this market closed here, what happened? It opens. Immediately it opens, sellers push it down. So when sellers push it down, then what happened? Buyers came in again and push it up. Okay, so now what candle has it formed now? Of all the candle that we have treated, what does it really form here? So this is a perfect hammer. Look at the green line here. This green line represents a zone. And look at this very particular candle just break above the zone, while this hammer retests the zone and then form a new uptrend. Okay, so now looking at this close of this particular hammer, what happened? Another perfect candle open and then buyers are still buying, okay, to this very point where sellers came in. Now that sellers came in, they have pushed the market, they are reversing the market, okay, and right now it has not yet confirmed that the market is going to sell until they break this very particular low. If they break this low, this candle close at the inside this line, okay, then there is more confirmed, there is more a confidence, okay, that this market will continue to sell. Yes, but at this same point, it's not really advisable that you just conclude at this very particular point, because if you look at the message of this particular candle, the push of the buyers from this candle is enough to tell you how this market will continue to buy. But if peradventure this guy closes above or below this particular line here, then what does that tell you? That there is no also certain that the market will sell. So you have to wait until you must know and look for a particular reason why that you will buy or you will sell. As you can see, immediately respecting this very particular line, what happened? They are still insisting that they want to continue to buy. Buyers are still pushing. Okay, so let's leave it this way and then come down to this point. Okay, so of all the candle we have created, this is one of the candle we have created. Remember guys, I've told you that you are not expecting 100% what you see at the slide, that it always come in a little different form. Okay, so you are the one that will define it and then give it a full meaning. Like what we have here, this is a pin bar. Some call it spinning top. Okay, okay, and if you look at it, it also looks like a kind of doji. It's just that it has a little body and it could not close in the middle. So these are the differences. But what happens at this very particular candle, I mean the message is that there is a sort of rejection, because the rejection of a seller is more than the rejection of a buyer. Okay, so we can still see it as a kind of what? Doji, which I've said it before. What message did you derive? That is why I always said, don't just rush into conclusion that the market will buy or that the market will sell. Then look at the activities that have happened after the close of that particular candle. Just look at the activity. You see that the market starts selling. Okay. Now, if you look at this particular candle that just closed, it could not even test up again at all. It could not even give any little wick. So this is enough to even tell that this market goes down so well. But this is not what we are treating for now. I'm only just here to show you what we have treated on the slide. So we want to see them live on the chart. Okay. So our next video will cover the meaning of 3, 4, 5 candles that form together and the signals. That is the next video that is coming up. Okay. So stay tuned to the channel, subscribe and turn on the notification so that when the video comes, then you'll be notified. Okay, what happened here? We have bullish momentum, that is this very particular candle here. Then we have hanging man. Look at the hanging man here. Okay. Then we also have gravestone doji. Okay. This is gravestone doji. What does this guy looks like? There is no much difference between this guy and this guy. So you can call it whatever you want to call it, doji, spinning top, or a kind of pin bar. So whatever you think that is okay by you, okay, you just call it. But just the most important thing is to get the message first. Okay. So this is another bullish momentum here. Okay. So what else do we have here? We have gravestone doji. Okay. I told you earlier that don't expect everything to be 100%. Look at the body of this is bigger than this. But what we look into is where the market open, where the market close. That is the thing that you look into. There is no difference between where the market close open and where the market close here. Okay. So you see that everything is pushing down, everything is pushing down. And the wick, the most longest wick now that he has left us with is what qualifies it as a gravestone doji. Okay. Not just the long wick, but also the body too. There is no any two difference between these two. So there are the two that made up of this uh, gravestone doji. Okay. Now look at what dragonfly here. Okay. Dragonfly. Look at it here. Dragonfly doji. Remember I said it earlier that you find them both in the resistance and the support zone. Though this is a ranging market because it's not advisable for any trader, experienced trader, to take a trade in this particular range until we see this kind of thing. Okay, so this is when we can be encouraged to do what? Start looking for market on what to do, maybe buy or sell. Okay, so you can see, as I said earlier, don't expect 100%. There will never always be 100%. The same gravestone doji here. Okay, so what happened here? This is confirmed hammer. Guys, look at the difference between hammer and the hanging man. You can see hammer close above the open. Okay, then the candle is painted green, and immediately the candle close above the open. What happened? Start going up, start going up, start going up. Now look at the one we called uh, hanging man here. Can you see what happened? It happened at the resistance. Okay, it happens at the resistance. Now, even the next candle that formed could not even tell us that it's going to buy or it's going to sell. So I told you earlier there is a kind of trap. So within the open of this very particular candle, I don't have anything to do until maybe after closing of this candle, even if it has rejected. But at least I also know, be very careful, knowing that there is a support zone here. Sorry, there is a resistance zone here. So even if I'm buying after this particular candle or at the going of this candle, I just enter the trade. I must have to be very careful that there is a resistance zone here too. Okay, so that is just it. That is just it. Let's see if we still have any more thing. Okay, pin bar here. Right, pin bar. These are perfect pin bar. This is perfect pin bar. These two. That is how pin bar should be. Then what else we have here? Bearish momentum. You can see how heavy they are. This is to tell you that there is a selling pressure. Okay, so those are the things we want to see. What happened here? Another hanging man here. You can see always even happening at the resistance. Okay, this is almost third hanging man that we are seeing towards resistance. Okay, so what else we have? This is a perfect doji. I can accept this to be a cross doji. I can accept it to be a dragonfly. I can accept it to be a gravestone. You know why? Sorry, I can't accept it to be a dragonfly because a dragonfly will open, will close at the top here. So the two doji I am accepting is cross doji or gravestone doji. Okay, dragonfly is supposed to be somewhere here. Okay, sorry about that mistake. So, but at least this is a pure doji. Whether you call it a cross doji or you call it a gravestone doji. So this is a perfect doji for now. So I think we are done with this class for now, guys. I really appreciate your time for watching this video till the end. If you have gained one or two things, or you've learned one or two things, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification for another super video that is coming. I promise you that video will be highly rich and you're going to learn a whole lot of things. Okay, stay tuned for the upcoming video. Thank you so much, guys. Do have a wonderful time. Thank you.